welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Which is based on a blog of the same name, because like those quirky, true American loft mates, this is no standard CC and Winston mess around. We're just united couch potatoes, adorable in our own right, looking to say sayonara to a sitcom we've truly grown to like or love. And it's already getting mushy. My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU, ! Is ready for the holidays and hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including, but not limited to, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, The Vampire Diaries, The Good Place, Grace and Frankie, Game of Thrones, Broadchurch, Stranger Things, iZombie, Fuller House, American Horror Story, Doctor Who, Supernatural, The X-Files, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Gotham, and the 4 shows of the Arrowverse on the CW. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for a series of unfortunate events, the originals, Once Upon a Time, 13 Reasons Why, Orange is the New Black, and the Marvel's Defenders panel will talk Season 3 of Daredevil. We'll be launching new panels covering The Crown, Westworld, Arrested Development, Jane the Virgin, and The Americans. We'll be continuing a new feature called Versus, where we'll be comparing shows in a spicy debate. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at one of our most popularly requested panels of all time, which is Friends. And I promise you it's coming, gentle listener, but probably in January. By the way, did you know that CPU also from time to time goes live? We've been live from bunkers and comedy shows, and we just went live for the 3rd time from Grand Rapids Comic-Con. Plus, we're planning more live appearances and other cool stuff, so make sure you like or follow us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear a show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we always seek new panelists. So if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback! Even the Nick-esque, grumpy kind. Just keep it clean, friends. Keep it clean. Or at least cleaner than Nick would. Today, we're around the water cooler and discussing Season 7, the final season of New Girl, which aired from April 10th to May 15, 2018, on Fox with a total of 8 episodes. To remind the listener, Jessica, or Jess Day, played by Zooey Deschanel, is a bubbly teacher in her early 30s who comes home to find her boyfriend Spencer with another woman and leaves him immediately to look elsewhere to live. Answering an ad for a new roommate on Craigslist, she moves into a loft in Los Angeles with 3 men around the same age as her, Nick, played by Jake Johnson, Schmidt, played by Max Greenfield, and Coach, played by Damon Wayans Jr. After the pilot episode, Winston, played by Lamorne Morris, a former roommate and Nick's childhood friend, replaces Coach, who had vacated the apartment to live with his girlfriend. Cece, played by Hannah Simone, Jess's childhood best friend and a successful fashion model, frequently visits Jess and the guys. The series follows the group's interactions with each other and their romantic relationships. Season 7 advances the storyline to 3 years following the events of Season 6, when Schmidt and Cece have a 3-year-old daughter named Ruth. Winston and Allie are expecting their first baby, and Nick tries to find the right time to propose to Jess. Our panel of not-so-new girls, namely Kristen and Sarah, have reconvened around the water cooler to offer their reactions, for better or for worse, to the final season of the most adorable sitcom this side of the turn of the millennium. We'll also pause, as we always do with final seasons, to look back at the show as a whole, and to consider how we think it will fare after the passage of time, as well as how it all came out in the wash in the end. Before we do, as always, I'm going to take a moment to double-check the panel's temperature. After all, as we all know, sometimes a TV show can take turns for the better or the worse in our heads, or can continue its level of awesomeness or lack thereof, depending upon the story evolution. As always, it should be noted that all of our panelists have viewed all of New Girl and will, let's face it, discuss sensitive plot points, sight gags, jokes, and other elements best enjoyed on the first watch of really any sitcom. So for those of you who are not caught up on this show, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you?
Hi. Awesome.
Are you ready to kiss New Girl goodbye?
Yes.
No.
Ish. Ish.
Okay. Good. So I'm going to pause, like I said, to take a moment to take your temperature along the standard CPU character question, which changes with each show we do. I did not change the character question really very much at all this time because really these characters kind of stay consistent. I mean, what do you know? So let's ask you, Kristen and Sarah, and myself, how would you rate your interest in New Girl now that the show is done? Did you love this show? So much so you like to randomly blurt out song lyrics about it, knit or craft glittery tchotchkes pertaining to it, or generally encourage it to be its best, like Jessica Day? Are you going to miss this show so much as you miss your cat named Ferguson? Despite its ups and downs, you enjoyed it as much as you enjoy your new family with Allie and Danville, like Winston Bishop. Did you watch this show because your best friend watched it and loved it, and or you might have an incurable thing for Schmidt, and or because your husband and or child watched it, even if begrudgingly, like Cece Parikh Schmidt? Did you tolerate this show, but you found it sloppy and in need of a serious makeover, even if it has a surprising amount of heart that manages to warm the thorny frozen chambers of yours, like Schmidt, forget that Winston name? Or did you hate this show like you hate life, youth, and random things, because you're a grumpy old man crammed into a grumpy young man's body, but you're always up for a game of true American and are indelibly drawn to the new girl yourself, no matter what may happen with the show? Like Nick Miller, who would like to start.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Kristen. Hi. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Kylie. Last time it looks like I was Schmidt.
You were.
Not surprised. I love Schmidt. Still do. Still one of my favorite characters. I know we'll get into that later. So I think for this season, season 8, the 3-year jump ahead, I'm going to go with the classic Winston CC mess around. Because I can't choose just one. It was weird that I only chose one last time. I am going to miss the show. I mean, I have found some replacements, I think, that kind of fill the quirky quotient on TV. But yeah, I mean, there were some ups and some downs. And yeah. And then, so that's Winston, ups and downs. And then the CC part, it's because I have an incurable thing for Schmidt.
Honesty is the best policy.
Schmidt was my favorite character.
I know.
I know.
Welcome back, Kristen.
Thanks.
I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Well, I wish I could say that I was Cece because I did make my children watch it with me. They did not like it, but they don't like anything that doesn't have Elmo in it.
Well, you know.
You know, what are you going to do? Yeah. I think I'm going to pull a Kristen and say 2 this time.
Hey, welcome to the
Wow,
club.
that's like against your personal
I know.
philosophy.
It is.
I know.
But it's the last season. She can choose to.
I can. Well, the thing is,
Are you rationalizing for her?
Yep.
Okay.
I was going to say Nick Miller on this one because I really didn't like this season and it left me with a bad taste in my mouth. But I still think it warms my thorny heart, frozen heart like Schmidt. So I'm somewhere between those two cute guys, Schmidt and Nick.
They are both very cute.
Yeah.
Who both remind me of my own husband at times.
I can see that.
I can see Nick
I can see
reminding me of Nick.
He's...
Well, Nick looks like Nick. He
does.
looks like
Nick.
him.
Nick looks like Nick, but with Schmidt's hair a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit, not a lot. A little bit.
Okay. I don't see the Schmidt in Nick. That must be
I do
a
a
marriage
little.
thing.
Now, he doesn't act like him.
Okay.
His
Just,
looks.
there's a little bit in there.
a little bit of his looks.
Okay.
kind of
It's
remind
like
me.
the top half of his head.
Yeah.
Schmidt.
Yeah.
So
the
this
rest
is
of
the
it's
Nick that appears on many of our other panels as well.
Yes.
So if you ever wondered what he looked like, well, A, you could just go to the website because
there's
you have a
pictures.
description.
Now you have a description.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are Schmidt and Nick.
I'm Nick.
Weird. Welcome back, Sarah.
Great to be here.
I know. And of course, I'm Kylie. Last time, I was somewhere between Cece and Schmidt with very similar descriptions. I think that I would be I'd probably be Winston and Cece myself.
Winston CC mess around.
Yeah, the mess around. I think so. I mean, I'm going to miss it. I will agree that the show went downhill in probably the last couple of seasons,
Yep.
and that the 8 episodes that we got just for this last season were probably, at best, one giant afterthought. But at the same time, I'm glad we had a goodbye. I do enjoy these characters. Jake Johnson is cute. I'm practically Nick in real life with Jess's fashion sense.
Yep, I will attest that is true.
And I do like Schmidt as well because he's really funny, although he's moved on to a new show, so who knows. But I will miss these characters, and I think the idea of the show was fun. I just think it perhaps went on longer than they intended, or maybe then was probably necessary given where they took the story, but we'll talk about that. So speaking of these 8 episodes and 3 years later, what did you think of season 7 beyond your foreshadowing that you just sprinkled there?
No, when you choose to do a 3 years later or a 6 years later, I feel like there has to be some really compelling reason. I don't want to say gimmick, but I just didn't feel like they had one. I would have been okay just coming back 6 months later or whatever, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, 6 months later, we would have only seen Cece pregnant.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool that we got to see their daughter, Ruth, which I love that she was named after Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yes.
That made my heart happy. I love the infamous RBG.
RBG.
Thank you. It's late, people. I haven't had enough caffeine today.
In my head, I was thinking Big Friendly Giant. I'm like, Big Friendly Giant?
Well,
that's not even starts with an R.
No,
so
yeah.
that's how tired we are.
Who knows?
We're tired.
Yeah, I love that.
Really true.
Yeah.
It is going to be true, Mary. I love that we got to see Ruth and her interaction with the Loft gang and how she related to each of them a little differently. That's something we wouldn't have gotten. I don't know if I would have enjoyed seeing Cece pregnant. I don't know what kind of storyline there would have been in that.
Not if they were hinting that she was a terror.
I just didn't. I guess I'm the opposite. I didn't need that little girl there. I love children, but it was kind of like at the end where they're like, "We'll call our sitter and they'll stay later." That just isn't realistic. Like, that's not what it is when you have kids. I don't feel like. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I'm just like reading too much into it. A lot of it I felt with the little girl was done before, like, we gotta get her into preschool. That whole storyline. How many shows have we seen that in? So many, I feel like. I just wanted them to do something totally new with it. And the same thing with the, how's he gonna propose? Right. We've done this before. Yeah, we've done the new bad wedding day emergencies happen plotline. We've done it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, I think they wasted a whole episode on the preschool business. Yeah. That was probably one of my least favorite episodes of the 8. Even though she is precocious, and it was, to Kristen's point, fun to see Cece and Schmidt as parents, and Schmidt being a stay-at-home dad and a house husband. And
I struggled with that, too.
Why?
Because he's always been so driven
and so much of his personality came from his work ego and his success-driven thing. I don't know. And all of a sudden her modeling agency is hot, and I don't know.
Took off in 3 years.
Very convenient. It was like I said on the last season. Oh, they're all so successful in all these various fields. Like I'm rolling my eyes. You can't see it, but
but you can probably hear it in her voice.
You can probably hear it. And I don't want to come off like I didn't enjoy watching it. I enjoyed watching these episodes, but I also think they could have been wow amazing. The show to me started out wow amazing.
It did. It really did.
And it just didn't really end there for me. I'm not a writer, but I feel like I could have thought of more interesting ways to do different things. I would have liked to have seen on her wedding day different old boyfriends showing up at the wedding. Like, either she's invited them and it's annoying Nick, like, why did I invite these guys? Or they're there to, like, try to win her back or something. I don't know.
There was just a parade of them in the episodes beforehand.
Yeah.
Except for Dermot Mulroney trying to put the moves on her wedding day.
Right. But doesn't she...
Fancy man.
Yeah, because he was trying to get her to work for him for his education foundation. Right?
Yeah. Right. And she was.
Yeah.
She had but apparently that rekindled his feelings for her in a quick second.
Yeah, and I could have done without that. I like Dermot Mulroney. I mean, he's a good-looking older man, but
he's very handsome.
Yeah, they already played out that storyline enough. Like, just let her go work for him and let them just be friends, and we're done.
I feel like they kind of set themselves up for a hard situation when you let them get together. Okay, they were together, and then they weren't together.
Because they have to follow that stupid pattern.
Right. And so then they let them get together on the elevator and all of that. That was pretty fulfilling.
Yeah, I could have, as much as that would have been kind of like, oh, that's all we get, I would have also been okay with that's all we get.
Yeah, or...
Because it gives you that hope that, oh yeah, they're going to be fine. They're together now. It's good.
It would have been almost interesting if she were pregnant.
Well, remember that the network, now they could have disagreed and said, no, we're not going to do these episodes at all, but the network kind of strong-armed them into it because they don't have a lot of successful sitcoms on Fox.
They don't.
That's true.
New Girl was like one of their bright spots, and so because I remember Jake Johnson, I do follow them all on Twitter. I do remember Jake Johnson saying, this is probably it, and I hope you really like it. And then a few weeks after the fact, there was this announcement that Fox has commissioned these additional 8 episodes, so the cast had to do kind of a backpedal on saying, this is it, and we think this is it. So there was that a little. Now, I'm not using that as a defense, but to the extent that there was a fulfilling point, I think that the writers actually tried for that, but then they all agreed to come back for these 8, and then to your point, I think it's correct. They had to shoehorn a lot into a very short space and did not do it well and ended up relying on rehashed things to kind of fulfill that quota when they really had more, not a super wowing, amazing ending out of season 6, but a satisfying ending, a fulfilling ending.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like maybe I can't think of the amazing thing they could have done with these 8, but they don't pay me the big bucks to think of something. I guess I would have thought somebody would have thought of something better.
Yeah, I mean, like Kai said, I'm satisfied with the ending. I don't feel like I need to see more New Girl or I've been left with any outstanding questions or wondering what's going to happen. I mean, the nice thing is they kind of gave us that with that little flash forward at the end with whether it was a dream sequence or if it was like a actual flash forward of all the Loft gang playing a PG version of True American with their kids drinking root beer. Like,
that was the episode
that was cute.
That I wanted Coach there for, though.
Yeah.
Not the other one he was in.
The funeral for Ferguson a year after the fact.
Yeah.
And Jess thinking that she killed Ferguson when really he apparently just had a kiddie version of a heart attack.
Yeah.
Or stroke.
Yeah, because he was old.
Yeah, agreed. The Coach appearance was super awkward. I would have rather not had him have been there at all.
Yeah, or at the very end, they open the door and they say, we know what we need to say goodbye to the Loft, and they open the door and he's there. Then they could have played together or something. I don't know, that would have felt better to me.
More true. Yeah, it would have felt.
Oh, he came in and borrowed $75,000.
Yeah, he borrowed $70,000 from Nick. And
jerk. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite characters, but not now.
I really wish he would have stuck around for most of the series, though.
See, I never was a huge Coach fan. He was funny, but he was so in and out that I guess in my head refused to get attached.
Well, it was just one of those, from the producers and the writers' standpoint, is, it was because, he was in the pilot and, his other contract was picked up. He has an open door policy. He can come back anytime he wants. We love him. And it worked okay, but it wasn't done as well.
Yeah. I also kind of was super annoyed with Allie this season, and I don't know why.
She was weird
It was weird. It was like it was
more weird than last season with her Japanese game show winnings and all that business?
I liked it at the beginning when she was like the straight woman.
Yeah, I did
the serious
but
cop.
Then when she started getting in on all
weird
the
and quirky.
Can't
she just be the? We like that.
Can you let
from her.
Winston be Winston and Allie be Allie, and then try to get Allie to be Winston?
Yeah.
But maybe they're incredibly awkward, weird soulmates.
I liked it when she was more the straight-laced cop with Winston. I really liked their dynamic.
She has a weird family and a weird sister and all that. We got that. That's good.
Yeah.
I didn't need more. And she just was acting different this season.
Well,
she was written different. Well, yes.
Maybe it was hormones.
Yeah, I don't know. They took it too far. A little looser Allie would have been fine, letting Winston's having this kind of effect on her. But Sarah's right, having her just totally be crazy Allie was too much.
It could have been a different woman. It could have been a different character for as different as it was to me. Could have been Kylie instead of Allie, and I would have been like, oh, he dumped her and got a new wife in 3 years. I don't know. It just that's what it felt like to me. And I love Nassim. I'm sorry.
Sarah really loves the actress.
Oh, look it up. She was on SNL, and I loved her on that. And she was.
Yeah. Oh, she wasn't she?
Yeah, and she's very funny. I like her. I don't think it's her. I think it's the writing.
It was the writing for sure.
I'm blaming the writers for a lot, and that's. Not
I usually do too, because the actors can only do so much with what they're given.
Because we're actors. That's why.
That's why.
We're actors.
If it's a bad book, it ain't gonna work.
No, agreeably, I think the writing
Nassim Pedrad is her name.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's very good.
Oh, we didn't see Reagan back. She didn't make it.
Thank
here.
goodness.
I'm all right with that.
I am more than all right with that.
Peace out, Megan Fox.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't have strong reactions. I didn't think that the 8 episodes were great, but I didn't hate them either. I was very much in the middle, like, okay, that was enjoyable. We had an extra little taste, but it's kind of like when you're eating Thanksgiving dinner. I say this because we're recording before Thanksgiving, and you've eaten just enough to be almost too much, and you think you're going to try a little bit more because you can eat more because all the food is so delicious, or at least it was delicious in your mind, but then you eat that extra food and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so full that this doesn't even taste good anymore.
It's uncomfortable, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how this season of New Girl felt to me. It was just like a little too much. It went on a little too long.
Yeah.
Too late.
I think if they would have pared down the storylines, and they wouldn't have tried to fit everything in, like we said, we could have gone without the preschool storyline. Like, that would have cleaned things up a little bit, and they could have spent more time on things we actually wanted to see.
And the road to Nick and Jess getting married, I mean,
that was drawn out.
It was very drawn out, not just in this season, but just over the course
their
of
whole
the series.
relationship.
Yeah.
I actually really, really liked his whole idea that he mailed the ring home and was going to have her open the mail. I've never seen a proposal done like that. Why didn't they just have her open the damn envelope?
Because she was distracted by a dog.
I get it.
Who she loves so much, she scared the dog adoption agent.
But I just thought that was
apparently
a really creative way to propose and a really nice thing, and they didn't do it.
I don't know. I wish they would have moved with the wedding. It would have been nice if they would have moved it up a bit, so we could have seen some Nick and Jess hijinks on their honeymoon. That would have been kind of something fun to see, but
I wanted to see her be pregnant and then being like, what, this is an accident or something. That would have been a fun Nick face to see.
Or have that be the final moment of the series. She finds out she's pregnant and we just have a Nick face.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with your thought about the time jump, though. I thought it was highly unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they were going to jump, they should have taken a bigger leap.
Yeah, why only 3? That's kind of a random...
It's a bold choice, and I think they almost did it, like I said, as a gimmick. Oh, this is going to get people talking, which it did get us talking on the last one.
What are they going to do?
But if you're going to choose that, you really have to have something bold in there, or else it's okay.
The passion, I tell you. Wow. What about Nick's Pepperwood...
Pepperwood Chronicles becoming a series.
A whole series, which you predicted, by the ways.
Mm-hmm.
You said a movie or a series, and it became a series.
Right. Well, with the time jump, and that's where Nick ended, was his book was starting to do something. It's what are they going to do with his character? It was just a logical conclusion that his book was going to turn into something bigger. And I loved that it was really resonating with the teen girls and becoming the next Twilight and all that. I don't know.
Yes, it became a young adult series.
I thought it was just weird. Not weird. I thought it was, wow, that's something that it became popular. And then just as quickly, though, now he can't write it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was you probably can still write it. Come on. At the end, him and Jess basically were poor again. They had nothing.
Forehead Sweat was his publisher, Reggie Murgatroyd, from The X-Files, the publisher.
I didn't notice that.
Oh.
And I didn't watch that show. So, didn't notice it.
You still have time. It's timeless.
Oh, honey. There's so much TV
I know.
have to watch for this podcast. It's
I know.
insane.
Well, you don't have to watch it for the podcast. That's on your spare time.
Yeah.
And it's timeless, and you won't regret any hour you spend.
Yeah.
Just highly recommended. Well, yes, he was. I don't know the actor's real name. He's also in the Justin Timberlake commercial with the Brazzberries.
Yes, he's the Raspberry guy.
So, I don't know. Yeah, I have no strong feelings. I just thought, what about Winston's new obsession with the 3 men and a little baby and little lady? 3 men and a baby, 3 men and a little lady films. He got real obsessed. And apparently he's colorblind and had color-revealing inventive glasses.
Well, I liked when they did the 3 men and a little lady singing her to sleep thing. That was cute. I enjoyed that. I thought that was a good
use of the 3 years.
Use of that, yes.
For 30 seconds.
I don't believe it's okay to name your kid Dan Bill. But this is what I hate is she was like, really? You don't have to let him name your baby that, Allie. You did the work.
The baby was Dan Bill?
Yes.
The baby's name is Dan-Bill.
And then what was the cat's name? Did they ever name the cat? The new Ferguson?
Yes, I don't
they
remember.
found in the bar?
I don't remember the name of the cat either.
Because then the lady said, my real name is... Was that Tignataro?
That was Tignataro.
I forgot to pay better attention.
Mm-hmm. Yes, apparently she bought Nick's bar from him and had this cat who they found in the furniture.
Like in the booth.
Yeah.
I love that people are listening right now screaming it at us.
Probably,
yeah.
And then, yes, Nick offered... Who offered the money?
Nick did. Nick gave the $7,000 that he had just gotten from Coach.
Right.
To pay for the
cat.
But
at some point, one of them asked, what was the lowest you would have gone? And she says $50.
Yeah.
Mario? Or that's the dog?
The dog is Mario, yes.
We're trying to find it.
I can't find
Winston's cat named New Girl, Google. Let's see.
Ferguson. It's going to come up.
Yeah, probably. I don't think it got a name yet.
He did.
He did.
He said, I'm going to call you, and he named it, and she goes, actually, his name is... and they were like, shut up.
Shut up. We don't care.
Right. Oh, I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Sorry, guys. Insert name here.
I guess I was more heartwarmed that he has a new cat, maybe.
I'm just thinking, I hope that cat doesn't have toxoplasmosis because you have a new baby. This is the problem with me. I am turning into Nick. I'm very cynical. Nick in the show, not Nick, my husband.
Right.
Yeah.
Who loves animals.
What about the episode where, in order to help Winston, because they have this very stringent contest where they name their godparent, and it happens to be Jess again, even though she's already Ruth's godparent. And in the process of that, Jess tries to prove she can be a good godparent by helping Winston and finding his, quote, real dad, who wasn't his real dad.
I don't understand what people in Hollywood think godparents do. Just across the board, I don't think people understand that job. So it's just, I just get confused by it. I'm like, what's their criteria? I don't know. So it was fine. I guess. I like that Allie, really knew, that is not his dad.
Well, that's good. I mean, I would hope she would know. She seems to be pretty smart.
She's a cop, so I think she...
Wow, I'm pulling teeth here.
I know. Maybe we should take it character by character? Or episode by episode? I don't know. I'm trying...
No, it's hard.
This is hard. We struggled with this last time, I remember.
We did.
Because...
And it's even harder. Last time, I think we struggled with it because it wasn't up to the quality it had been. This time, I think it's that, plus the fact that there's only 8 episodes. And what was in the 8 episodes was somewhat weird.
Well, it was weird. So, for me, one of the things that's weird is, so Jess starts off the series, and she's this teacher, and she's passionate about teaching. Is she an art teacher?
Or she was an English teacher, wasn't she?
Something.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if it was
She made a lot of crafts.
They did crafts.
Because she was a middle school teacher.
Middle school teacher, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then through the course, she loses that job, or she leaves it to be like a private school teacher.
Yeah, well then...
And then she becomes the principal.
Yeah. The vice principal, and then she starts at a new school and becomes the principal.
Yes.
And then loses that job, or it goes under, or there was a big incident happen.
Wrong, yeah.
So then she doesn't have a job, and she just follows her boyfriend around Europe for 3 years.
And then she starts working at the Education Foundation with her ex-boyfriend.
I don't know. It's weird to me. Usually people who, love being a teacher are never going to leave that. But she seemed to take quite the journey there. I don't know.
Yeah. I think, part of when her journey started to diverge was when the series started to kind of not be as good.
I agree. I didn't like that she was leaving this thing that she seemed to really love for no really good reasons. I just never... Yeah. I don't know.
The new cat, NAFTA.
Oh, right! Now I remember that. NAFTA.
To which the writers have said, there wasn't any real specific reason for Winston to name the cat NAFTA, other than the fact that the writers found the name funny as soon as they thought it up.
He's named after the North American Free Trade Agreement.
NAFTA. Yep.
Maybe because they hope it will remain. Aww.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. So, sorry. Yeah, but Jess's journey was weird overall.
I just thought it was weird.
It was weird. I don't think any of them have really linear journeys, though.
Well, I remember being surprised by Cece, too. And when you were doing her description, you said successful model, which they seem to make her out to be a successful model.
She was successful, yes, but she was a successful, B model, if that makes sense.
She was a catalog model.
Yeah, she was a catalog print model. She wasn't Victoria's Secret, New York Fashion Week model.
Right.
But she got consistent, decent paying work.
And then she's like, no, I don't. I'm not. I'm sick of not. Which I get it. I don't know.
Because there's always somebody younger and better.
I liked that juxtaposition between her being this amazing, perfect model person to her quirky, like, friend who's cute and beautiful, but, like, didn't. At first, it was like Jess was wearing boys' bike shorts under her dress at that wedding. And that stuff kind of went away about her. Like, she kind of got.
True. She became a little more refined.
Or a little less awkward.
A little less, awkward and quirky, which is the whole point, that she was supposed to be
adorkable.
Yeah, and she kind of lost that.
So, I don't know. I liked that juxtaposition.
The characters that I thought I always liked the best were Nick and Schmidt.
Yeah.
And I felt like whatever else may have happened with the other ones, they kind of were consistent and grounded. I love the fact that they flash back. I love
they're all their college flashbacks with Fat Schmidt.
Yeah.
Loved.
And probably the best moment on this season is when Nick finally admitted that he loved Schmidt.
Yeah.
And a friend
after all those years of never saying I love you.
The peppermint lotion.
Yes.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, I don't even care what's in the damn box. Throw it out. Who cares? But then when he actually revealed it, I was like, well, that's realistic, because he didn't know that guy that was like, here's this peppermint foot lotion, so he pretended he liked it. Like, that's realistic to me. And I liked that. And
how sweet.
The whole mustache thing annoyed me, though. I was like, oh.
It annoyed Nick, too.
That was gross.
Nick made his feelings known.
I think Nick, to me, stayed one of the most consistent over the course of the series. Even Schmidt had his
weirdness.
He had an evolution. His seemed to make sense, though. I guess I'm not buying into the stay-at-home dad thing, but my own husband was a stay-at-home dad for a couple months, so I get it. It happens. For him, it seems out of character, but I mean, the whole him and Cece secretly together and then together, and I liked all of that.
He was a stay-at-home dad. He didn't choose it until the end of the series, though. He made a very big kind of event out of going back to work, and it was only when he was back at work that he realized he didn't want to be back at work again.
Who goes back to work when your kid's 3? I don't know. If that's you, I'm sorry. I don't mean to judge.
That was me shrugging, because I don't have kids, so I can't measure these.
Well, this is the realism that goes through my head, is like, that house, I mean, how are they affording it? I don't know.
It's called TV.
I know.
Magical realism.
But also remember, they bought it when it was nasty and gross, and they renovated.
That's true.
So
that's how they can afford that house.
Yeah, Jaipur Aviv, remember? You also predicted and or maybe hoped for that there was the parade of guest stars.
Mm-hmm.
I knew they were going to do that. I felt like that was a given.
They needed to fill time.
But I wanted more, and let's talk about the prank.
Let's talk about the prank.
Okay.
That's where the series
big,
ends.
ultimate prank that seemed really confusing and convoluted.
Yeah, and weird.
And unnecessary.
And if you're going to have the prank, where was what was her name? Rhonda.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Where I thought when they said, and you know who slid all those under the door? I wanted it to be Rhonda.
Maybe she couldn't make it fit.
Yeah.
But then
Winston was aspiring to be the better prankster.
I get it, but if you're going to write a prank subplot, I feel like you can't leave her out.
Right.
I mean, obviously they did. So.
Yeah, and I hope that it was just scheduling issues with the actress.
I know. I didn't care for the prank, but
it was unnecessary. Whatever. I don't know. They could have just had something else in that storyline place.
It got them out of the loft.
Yeah.
I would never leave that loft.
No, I mean, that's very reminiscent of Friends.
Awesome.
Was it the last thing they do is they leave the apartment?
Yes. Yeah, you're right. And I did think of that when I was watching.
Yeah, I mean, not that they left because of a prank, but they left because of babies and moving on with their life, and, I get that, but...
This has always been Friends for millennials.
It has been.
We've compared it to Friends on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
Friends, I thought, was a better show.
Oh, everybody thinks that.
By a mile.
Well, especially now that millennials are rediscovering Friends on Netflix because they were too little to watch it the first time.
But then also pointing out its many flaws.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Without acknowledging the context. That's for the Friends podcast,
yes,
which I swear is coming.
Are you on that?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not on that.
I'm on so many others. I wanted to give other people an opportunity to talk into the microphone around the water cooler.
That was nice of you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
What?
Yes. So that was a very good comparison ending to Friends. I felt very reminiscent
Leaving
of that.
the main set of the show behind.
They had to play True Americans. I liked that montage.
Yep.
I didn't even mind the quick flash forward of them playing True Americans with all their kids. That was cute.
It was cute.
That was cute.
And fitting. And it shows they stay friends.
Yeah.
And that's lovely because,
As you get older and have kids, things happen.
People with
or
kids
even
need
without
friends.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adulting is hard. So I thought that was nice.
Yeah, I liked that little moment. I don't know, I guess I didn't care about the prank. I didn't see it coming. It didn't bother me, but
feel like
it didn't
a prank.
feel
it was
that
just
clever.
It was almost like, we just want to get them out of the loft. How do we do it? We have Winston pull one last prank. It just felt like an afterthought. Like, we already know we want to get to X, but how...
I probably, like I said, I would have respected it more if it had been Rhonda pulling that prank in the end. Mm-hmm. I would have been like, oh my... I would not...
Because she would be the kind of person to put the eviction notice out there.
Yes, and if Winston had nothing to do with it and it
was
her last revenge prank, I would have been... I probably would have loved that. That would have been clever. People, call me. I can write for you.
She's got big ideas.
I got ideas, y'all. I already have 8 million jobs. I don't need more jobs.
Okay. Well, let's shift now into looking back mode. Because I think the general consensus is season 7, meh, fine, done.
Season 8, meh, done, for good.
There's no season 8.
That was season 7.
That was season 7 with 8 episodes.
That's where I'm getting
Yeah.
Numbers late, people.
Math is hard.
Math, I'm not a math person. I'm a writer. I don't do math.
Words.
Words are easier.
So, now that all 7 seasons have aired and you've watched all 7 seasons, how do you feel about the show in general? So take yourself out of season 7 somewhat, kind of look at the 1 through 7 framework. I mean, you kind of hinted at it, that it was, better at first, but what did you love and what did you hate in the end, as generally or as specifically as you want?
The ultimate low point for me was Megan Fox coming in on Zooey Deschanel's maternity leave.
I'd agree with that.
I mean, I felt like the show was kind of on a good, uptick trajectory through seasons 1, 2, and 3, and then it started to downslide. Megan Fox being the absolute low point, and then trying to get back up for 6 and 7.
I actually think that's an astute observation, because now that you're saying that, I think that's where the show derailed.
Yeah. I mean, good for them for giving her maternity leave during the middle of filming, because most shows just work around it or start filming earlier or take a bigger break and film later, but the fact that they were very pro Zoe and just went on without her, great. She could take the time, but also the show is her.
Well,
she's the new girl.
I know. It speaks a lot to how important everybody else became, that they felt it was strong enough. Right. I just don't think Megan... And I didn't mind her the way you two did, but I don't think she was the right person.
No.
They could have had somebody cute and quirky or...
I mean, I get why they did the stark contrast to Jess by having... What was
Reagan.
Reagan, thank you. I get it why she was very who she was. She was the anti-Jess, and I get that. But maybe it was just how Megan Fox played her. I don't know. There's just...
That's how she always plays everything.
I feel like they could have just had Cece move in and then have it be Cece trying to relate to living with these guys.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting. Because in the beginning, I do feel like it was this girl... You know how she was crying and watching Dirty Dancing, and they were like, who is this weird creature?
Yeah. Because her boyfriend cheated on her, and then she ended up in this loft with other men.
And she had to learn to relate to these guys who were clearly not free spirit, artsy, creative types like her.
Especially not Schmidt.
Or Nick.
But then they had to learn to relate to her. But then I feel like that kind of all went away then. And I then it lost its appeal to me. Like, thinking back, I loved the first season, how, Nick was going to see his ex-girlfriend, so Jess pretended to be the girlfriend at the wedding. That might be my favorite episode of the series.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And she's wearing the little boy's bike shorts under her dress, and I'm like, this is something that I would have been in this predicament in college. Like, okay, I'll pretend to be your girlfriend. Oh, I gotta squeeze into this dress. Like, that would have been something that I would have done. And so I related to that, and I liked it. And then that stuff started to go away. Like, they became more comfortable. And then the guys started being their own brand of weird quirkiness, which didn't always work for me, I guess.
Yeah.
See, but I didn't mind that. I like the fact that they didn't focus on Jess the entire time.
Yeah.
I think there were 2 major points that they had to recover from. One which they did pretty well, and one which they didn't. The first point at which it kind of derailed was after they had forced Nick and Jess together, the ripping of them apart. It was inorganic. It was clearly something that they did just to throw drama into the
Ross
mix.
and the Rachel.
And not even in a satisfying way like the Ross and the Rachel, to the extent that we're on a break is satisfying. But I'm just saying, the Nick and Jess breakup it was forced. It was forced. It was two people who couldn't commit. And really, they shouldn't have rushed them together to begin with. They just caved into something. I don't know what it was.
Well, and again, I know this isn't the Friends one, but since we're comparing it, Friends had such strong characters that didn't really move. We were able to get over it and then see them in other relationships and move on, and we somehow were all okay with that. We got over it. Yeah. I just don't know that we ever got over Nick and Jess. Or at least I didn't. I just was like...
No, because they were so good together.
Yeah, and then
they felt like, oh, they're doing this. Oh, okay, I'm here for this. Yes. This works.
And then they broke up for really no good reason. And
it was no good reason.
We couldn't.
Because the Ross and Rachel thing, and we'll get to that on the Friends podcast, is a controversy that reigns to this day.
Yes.
And you can relate to both sides of their equation, and you can see how the thing broke apart. Here, it was like basically just two commitment-phobic people who ran away. At the first sign.
But still lived together, so it was super awkward and weird.
But Jess isn't commitment phobic though, because she was with her boyfriend. Like, maybe a little bit, but
I think...
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just did not work for me.
Maybe not commitment phobic, but if you follow Jess's relationships over the course of the series, she always had a tendency to, I don't want to say run away, but do something to sort of
sabotage.
Sabotage. Right. And so I think that's what happened with Nick as well. But this is the point I think they recovered from okay, and I think they did that by exploring the other loft mates a little bit. And I like the fact that Winston had his own he was Winston. He's a very unique character. I don't think you can compare him to anybody else in sitcoms. I like the fact that Schmidt was Schmidt. I like the fact that we got to spend time with Cece and she was more than just a cutout. But then bringing Reagan in, they probably would have been better off not bringing anybody else in at all, like you said. Even if Cece did move into the loft, there could still have been times at the bar, times in the other things that they did. And it still probably would have worked because they spent long times not focusing on Jess in the later seasons anyway.
So, even because didn't they run out of her room on a long term because she was just in town for pharmaceutical crap. They could have avoided that if they felt like they needed to fill the space with something. They could have done a rotating, every week there was somebody new staying in Jess's room. They were just continually running it out. There could have been a honeymoon couple or a random old guy.
That would have been really funny and lots of guest stars.
Yeah.
Right. That could have filled in the void of here's a new random person in the loft this week or for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I
don't know, just
or
something
their parents, any of their parents coming through.
I guess I feel like I need to clarify. I liked the quirkiness of Schmidt, but it was always there.
Yeah, it was a solid quirky.
I didn't mind the quirkiness of Winston, although I think they just kept adding more and more quirks onto him, and I was getting a little overwhelmed. But
I think they were trying to push the bar.
Yeah.
How weird can we make this guy?
Because Jess was getting less quirky.
Yeah, so
it was almost like she got more...
Maybe his power was to siphon weirdness away.
Maybe it was. I guess we don't know.
We don't know.
I get, Schmidt was always quirky. There's no other way. And Nick. But they were always kind of static. They didn't really change their personality traits that much, I didn't think.
Well, and to that end, I think a lot of the show was the chemistry of the ensemble. Just like Friends, that's probably why we compare it so much. And when you take one key piece of it and then kind of ramrod something else into it,
it just doesn't work.
It doesn't work as well. And then she had the other piece of it is she overlapped Jess's return because they couldn't just dump her.
Yeah.
And so that was
they had to
weird.
Cause the tension of Jess seeing Nick with another girl.
She just never went with Nick. It didn't make any sense.
No, you couldn't believe it. No. I couldn't believe it. Sorry, man. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was...
Don't like it. Pass, move on.
So, the series finale, did you think it was a proper send-off for the characters? Where it landed?
I don't know what else I would have wanted. I can't think of a better option.
It was fine, I guess.
You are all lukewarm.
Look, I'm thinking of good series finales.
Sure. Name some.
Friends.
Sure.
MASH.
You like to say MASH.
MASH is a historically good
It
series
is the
finale.
most watched TV episode of all time.
Even, X-Files, although that's since been revived, but the first X-Files I'll go with. I think that's a good one. Even ones that I don't think that I've seen, but that are famous, like St. Elsewhere, that's like historically famous. ER. Some of these that are like classic.
Cheers.
Seinfeld is... Cheers. Seinfeld's controversial, but we can all name what it was. We all know what it was. So some of them are good. Some of them are just...
Is it
whatever.
because it's a comedy that it's harder to give a proper send-off?
Well-
Because a lot of the ones you named are technically dramas.
Or
But there
they,
were a few comedies.
they gave them an hour long. So
They
it
did.
felt bigger. Friends
Yeah.
was long. MASH was long.
Friends was actually a two-parter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 hours because it was so big and not as watched as MASH, but started to approach the numbers. It was an event at
They
the time.
say about those statistics, there was really nothing to compete with MASH. There were way more channels when Friends was on, so there was going to be more to pull competition.
Right, but it still pulled in like
Yeah.
50 million viewers or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, at that time, I wasn't watching Friends every week. I was just whatever catching up, and I tuned in for that. You know,
Yeah.
everybody stopped and tuned in.
Yeah.
So I guess it just felt small. I feel like the New Girl finale felt small compared to some of these because it wasn't as long. It wasn't as much of an event. They did parade the guests in for like 10 seconds each, and it was like, don't blink. You'll miss it.
Yeah.
It was very rushed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the last episode particularly was very, very rushed. She wanted to have them take a moment and experience their emotions about the fact that they weren't going to be in the loft anymore. And that was the right idea, but they didn't actually do that.
No.
And it almost felt like too little too late for the loft. No, they hadn't been hanging out in that loft for 3 years. They've all moved on and they're traveling. They've probably have come to terms with it. I think she was the one that didn't, and they did a good job getting that across, but I don't know if it stuck. If I'm ranking my top favorite series finales, this probably isn't in them.
No, not at all.
So, I don't know. I mean, but then again, given what we had to work with this season, it was fine.
Yeah.
I felt
Proper for
closure.
the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like... I don't go to bed wishing for more.
So that answers the question. You have no lingering questions at the end of the series.
I really don't.
No.
You're both done.
Yep.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, if they want to do a Christmas special in a couple of years, sure. Or Hanukkah, whatever.
See, and I'm not even like that. I'm like,
I'll watch it.
I'm good without it. I mean,
Kristen won't watch it. So-
I'll watch it if it comes back, but I don't see a reason why it would and or should.
Yeah, I don't think it will either.
Do you think the show will hold up with the passage of time? Was it time for it to go, or would you have watched more seasons, or should it have ended sooner?
It should have ended sooner.
Agreed.
I feel like they didn't have an overall large story that they wanted to tell.
Yeah.
That's very true.
There wasn't
It did not balance.
There
the
wasn't a,
sitcom
we're
and
going to
the arc.
start with Jess with her boyfriend breaking up, you know, he's cheating on her, so she breaks up with him, moves into the loft, to whatever the end point is.
They
you know,
were
it just-
far too situationally based for
Yeah.
your standard sitcoms. Sitcoms don't run like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's usually something that ties it all together in the end,
I mean,
even
they
if it's
had,
in chunks.
they had like mini arcs, like Winston proposing to Allie or getting divorced from Rhonda or whatever. There were mini arcs, but there was nothing long term looking back at the series. It was just situational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
I mean-
the first 4 seasons. I'd have been good with the 4
I
seasons.
agree.
I
Yeah.
want to say I would keep watching just because it's an easy one for me to just have on and
It
enjoy
is very
and laugh.
easy
Yeah.
to watch.
You know.
And there was always at least a few laughs.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
a smile, anyway.
A smile
Mhm.
towards the end.
I think fondly of it.
Wow.
It was time. It was time.
It was time. Yeah, I agree with Sarah. It was time. If it, you know, if they would have canceled it after season 3, I'd have been like, nope, that's not enough. It's too short. 4, you know, if the end shot of 4 would have been Jess and Nick in the elevator, I would have been perfectly fine with that.
Will it hold up? Do you think it will hold up?
I'm not sure I'm not sure
It's-
hold up to what.
It's
So,
so hard.
I'm
now.
trying to think of something that makes it.
So imagine that you're done with this and in 10 years, 15 years, you decide, you know what? I kind of want to watch New Girl again. I enjoyed it when it was on. It made me laugh sometimes, and I just feel like I need to revisit the show. like Cheers, or, you know, something that's gone on for a long time, and you just remember it fondly, like you said. Do you think this would hold up over time?
I don't think so.
Not really. I don't see something about it that is
timeless
enough for me.
It's timely. It's not timeless. It's very of the moment, especially when it first aired. It was very much appealing to that
millennials.
Millennials, the age group, you know, and again, because it's all situational based.
None of it was, so again, comparing it to Friends, I mean, that is now starting to feel a little bit dated, but there are the big pieces, the relationships, the big event episode things they did that we always remember, like them going to London for Ross and Emily's wedding, and then Ross saying Rachel's name and all that business. There's lots of things that happened in that show, and you remember it fondly. And even though it feels dated, when you go back to it, it doesn't feel that dated.
No, it feels not that dated. You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
Though it's weird, they don't have cell phones. They don't.
Well, they do later.
The big boxy kind.
Yeah. But again, it's, I don't know. It's the hairstyles and the clothing that really dated. It's not necessarily the situations.
Right.
Yeah. Friends just came on the scene and kind of almost reinvented the sitcom at the time.
It revived it.
Revived, that's a better word. And you think classic sitcoms that just come to mind that were important. Like I've said, MASH, and even like The Cosby Show. I mean, that was very different in its day. Fresh Prince, you know, these ones that you think of and you're like, that was different than anything that had happened before. I don't know that I...
New Girl is not different.
It's not different. It's, you know, the character is more adorable than any other character prior, but there have been characters since.
The characters are fun. The situations were rehashed.
Yes, they were all rehashed from a prior show of some sort.
Yes.
So New Girl was created by Elizabeth Merriweather. This was her very first official created by credit. She has gone on to create Single Parents, which premiered this season. I passed it during the pilot review.
Mistake.
Is it funny?
I watch it. That's the show I was talking about in the intro when I said I found a replacement. I forgot that it's Elizabeth Merriweather, and she
created it.
She does a very good job. I think it's quite funny.
So would you recommend it for CPU?
I would actually. I like it. You know, the only thing that I don't like about Single Parents is that the two women characters have sons and the two male characters have daughters.
Oh.
It'd be nice if at least one of them was
mixed it
same
up a little
gender.
bit.
You know, that's a little like, really, did you think about it? But the adult and the kid characters are just as equally fleshed out and flawed. And the kids are hysterical. They're
See,
very
when I
funny.
watched the teaser, what I said was, I think this has potential, but the people that would relate to it most would be parents.
I'm not a parent. I'm not married. I've never been married. I don't have kids.
And you think it's funny?
I think it's funny.
Taron Killam is in it. I love him.
He is. And
as is Brad Garrett.
They're both very good. Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl.
Leighton Meester.
She's quite funny in this.
I don't know Kim Ray Lewis and Jake Choi, but I'm guessing they're the other two parents.
They're the other two. Yeah, I mean, they're, you know, the parents, they're not all insanely successful. So there's some variance in their careers and what they do and how they are surviving. So that was kind of a nice change that I think she made.
Oh, Cece's in it.
Yep, Cece's in it. Hannah Simone. She plays a doctor that is currently... It's one of the kids' doctors that she then begins having a relationship with one of the dads.
That's not
and she's
appropriate.
a very straight-laced, like, the kids are her clients, they're not patients.
So
like,
what motivated you to watch it?
It just looked funny. I don't know. I need more sitcoms in my life. Especially for CPU, I'm watching more of the hour-longs. You know, the DCTU, the MCU.
The nerdy stuff.
The nerdy stuff, which is all an hour long. Yep. I need... You know, but then I also watch, like, I watch A Million Little Things and This Is Us, and I watch some of the heavier stuff. So I needed more lightness in my television schedule.
I did pick up A Million Little Things. That was a very awesome teaser, yeah. And David Gentoli.
Oh, I love him. There's so many Grimsters coming back to TV. It's making my heart so happy.
Yes, Grimm.
Oh, Grimm. I still miss Grimm, which they're already talking about rebooting, by the way, which is weird.
Stop rebooting things.
I know, right? kind of done.
Didn't we learn from the whole Roseanne debacle? Come
Right.
on, people.
Well, they were. I don't know if they're still watching the Connors.
Yeah.
That was probably just controversy.
Yeah. So single parents, I needed something lighter. It looked cute. Another comedy that I started watching was I Feel Bad, because that also looked funny.
I picked that up
and
too.
that's been canceled already.
It has?
Well, it says it will conclude on such and such a date. Like, they didn't even give it a full series.
What show?
I Feel Bad. It's Amy Poehler's new show on NBC.
Oh, that's sad.
Which is very progressive, because the lead is
Indian.
of Indian descent, and she's in a mixed race marriage with a Caucasian man.
I thought that looked funny.
It is
that
funny.
the more the dad grabs her butt
Yeah.
on accident? Yeah.
It's so funny, because like they released the first 3 episodes on Hulu to try to get some buzz, then ABC premiered it. It's very funny. I think they're making a big mistake. That one's
Well,
also
maybe
very
Hulu will
good.
grab it back?
Maybe. I think it was just a promo for ABC to try to get...
Yeah, but maybe
viewers.
since ABC doesn't want it, maybe Hulu will be like, no, we'll take it.
Or, yeah, it's NBC or whatever.
I think
Call
it's
us Hulu.
NBC. But still, that one's also very good. I think Single Parents is funnier.
Okay.
But I Feel Bad is... Because, I mean, the woman, the lead, she works as a project manager in a video game design
Soraya
company.
Blue.
Yes, and she's great. She manages a bunch of nerds at a video game design company. So it's a very...
I wanted
breath
to
of
watch
fresh
that.
air.
I get behind
I recommend it. I think it's good. But Single Parents I like better. And the dynamics between the parents and the kids, and how the kids sometimes run things, or like one's a super hypochondriac, the other one's like super
So it's a
flamboyant.
horror genre show?
For you, it probably
Probably be for me, being a single parent. I can barely be a double parent.
Would you watch Single Parents?
I say give it a shot.
Listen,
give it a couple episodes.
I will check it out. I didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
So
it's on Tuesdays on
I always
ABC.
know the things that exist.
Kylie does.
Business.
She has to.
Yes, you have to.
I mean, but like I said, give it a couple episodes. Don't just judge it by the first one. You need, because it sets up a lot of. I'm gonna say, I haven't said this in a while. It sets up a lot of dominoes.
Ooh, she brought back.
I brought it back. I haven't said that in lots of podcasts lately. Yeah, so it sets up the storyline, because Taron Killam comes in as the new single parent in the school and like hooks up with the single parent group. I mean, not like a real group. They're just friends who all happen to be single parents and support each other. So just give it an episode or 3. Like, I would say get through the first 3, because they're short. They're 22 minutes.
Well, you heard it here first, people. I'm
Yeah.
going
For
to
me,
pick this up.
It fills my new girl quotient a little bit. I mean, it's not as quirky. It's not as adorkable.
Which that might be okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's no cats with old man names. But it's still funny, and it's... I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot. I'd recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, Elizabeth Merriweather can still do great work.
All right. Cool. Well, that was a great...
Sorry, that's a long answer, but yes.
No, but nobody ever answers those questions with such effusiveness. I love it.
Yeah. There you go.
Would you follow any of the individual ensemble actors from New Girl to a New Project? Now, Zooey Deschanel is not... trying to go back into TV.
She's producing stuff, isn't she?
Yeah, and Jake Johnson has also been transitioning into film. However, Max Greenfield is now on The Neighborhood, which I did pick up based upon the
Is
teaser.
that a CBS show?
Is it CBS? It's got Cedric the Entertainer in it.
I think it's CBS. That sounds about like a CBS title.
I'm going to change my name to Sarah the something. I like that.
Okay.
Instinct Cedric. And what was it called? The Neighbors?
The Neighborhood. It is about a gentrified white couple moving into a traditionally all-black
It's on
neighborhood.
CBS.
Okay. I trust you. I can't
When
remember
his
all the-
family arrives from Michigan.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's us. It looks like it's on Amazon Prime, so I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in, guys.
Schmidt's wife was from Two Broke Girls. She was the blonde one.
Oh,
Interesting. They're kind
she's
of keeping it
very
in the CBS
pretty.
family.
I don't know much about her work, so I
I don't
commented
either.
on
I
her
only know that
looks.
she was the blonde ditzy one on Two Broke Girls.
So you're both going to try to watch The Neighborhood?
Look, here's the thing.
I like Schmidt. Max Greenfield, I like him too, but
I loved him in...
I don't know. CBS comedies are not really my thing.
Well, I will maybe check it out once or twice. It's really hard, I'm a teacher, guys, so I tend to binge things in the summer
Yeah.
because I just feel like I have more time. So if I'm able to binge either of those...
Yeah, maybe if the season gets picked up for season 2, or the show gets picked up for season 2, then maybe I will, but... Like I've said, I've already got so much on my plate that I have to want to watch for the podcast that I don't have a ton of free time.
Sometimes we just want to read books.
I'm just asking the questions.
I will tell you, I love Zoe. I've followed her for years. I'm not trying to say I look like her, but a lot of people do think I look like her when I had bangs.
I think you
I
look more
can
like
see that.
Emily.
I get that too, but before Emily was famous, Zoe was more famous because
That's
she
true.
was in like a movie with Sarah Jessica Parker and an elf. She's blonde, and I'm not blonde.
And the
but
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
And I'm kind of. I'm not quirky like Jess, but I'm weird singing. I make up little songs and do stuff like that. So people always used to tell me I reminded them of her. So I always watch her because I'm like, oh, it's my Hollywood friend.
My doppelganger.
It's my doppelganger. But I do think I look more like Emily.
You do.
Agreed.
So if you're wondering what Sarah looks like, that's who she looks like.
Also, my picture's on the CPU
It's true.
page.
It's true.
know.
As is Kristen's. As is mine.
Yeah, we're on it.
Mine's old though. Mine's from like 2012.
So that's a dumb reason
You
to.
look the same.
Yeah, that's a dumb reason to follow someone's career, but I have.
No.
I love Elf, and I just always check out
I
things
love
that
Elf
she's in.
too.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
People whose hearts have died.
Their hearts have died. So I will watch her and things, and I
Yeah, I mean, if the project's good, I'll watch it too. I mean,
Yeah.
I will admit, I did watch Drinking Buddies just because Jake Johnson, right?
Mhm.
Because he's in it along with Anna Kendrick and Olivia Wilde, which sweet, super stacked cast, and it's Jake Johnson.
is it good though?
No.
Because I've never even heard of it, so I'm like,
no,
that-
it was on Netflix. It was like a recommended thing because I'd watched New Girl.
Oh.
And I'm like, I like these people. This movie is boring as a word I can't say on the podcast.
You can say hell.
Okay, but it's boring as hell. And
I think she was going to say the other one.
I was going to say the other word because it's just what I was thinking when I was
AF.
watching it. It was boring AF. And yeah, 2 hours of my life I can't get back. It was billed as a comedy and it is not funny.
Oh.
Not
So
good.
we've got some recommendations and some non-recommendations.
Yeah, and again, it's project dependent as much as I
I
like
think
the
it
person,
is. I
it's
think it
project
is.
dependent.
It is.
Damon Wayans Jr. now appears in Happy Together.
Which is weird because he was just in Happy Endings.
Agreed.
Is that a spin-off?
No.
No.
Oh.
It's a completely... I actually passed on it because in the trailer it was one of those extremely forced situations for a situation comedy. They take in basically a young, hip, white rock star, pop star, and they think that makes them cool.
Oh, it doesn't.
No. I mean, I did like Happy Endings. I have watched the entire series of, like 3 seasons of Happy Endings.
Mhm.
And it was cute. I liked it. It was also trying to be the new Millennium Friends. Didn't work.
Okay.
But the show was cute.
We don't need another Friends.
No, we
The
have
old
Friends.
one is still around. We can still watch it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But Netflix is a thing now. We don't need to make new versions of old
Friends
shows.
is leaving Netflix.
What?
Isn't
Going
it?
to Hulu?
I don't know. I have it all on DVD, so I'm good. If you want to borrow.
I've watched it multiple times all the way through. I'm good.
Yeah, we don't need a new Friends.
We don't know.
They can stop trying to achieve that, right?
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, I would agree. So, yeah. I would just say that if I was going to follow any of these actors, it would be the first 3, Zoe, Jake, and Max. I don't know that I would follow the other 3,
I
specifically
really
because
like
of who they are.
Lamorne Morris.
I like him too.
But I want to. But it has to be the right project.
It has
It has to
Yeah.
be the right project. He is on a show called Valley of the Boom,
Never
but
heard
I've
of it.
never heard of it.
What is it on?
Not a cable network.
Okay.
Oh
I
yeah, it
don't
doesn't
even
sound
remember.
like. I don't know what those words are.
You said it's, I'm gonna go to the Google. Valley of the Boom?
Boom.
That sounds like that's for people that are way cleverer than me. Because I don't know what that's referring to.
I haven't even never heard of it, and I'm usually pretty hip to the things.
Yeah.
So I have no idea.
Valley of the Boom.
Uh-huh.
Are you sure it's not
It's
Valley
in-
of the Dolls?
Oh, it hasn't even premiered yet.
Oh. Well,
And
I
it's
still haven't
gonna be
heard of
on National Geographic.
it. Well, there you go.
Oh, maybe it's like a documentary. I'll watch that.
It's a docudrama miniseries.
Oh.
It's an upcoming American docudrama television miniseries created, directed, and executive produced by Matthew Carnahan.
Who dat?
I don't know. That is set to premiere on January 13th, 2019 on National Geographic. But there's good people in it. Like Steve Zahn, Bradley Whitford, who's normally just an all-around great guy.
West Wing, Billy
Yeah.
Madison,
Yeah.
and other things, I'm sure, but that's what comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, Ariana Huffington of the Huffington Post, she's one of the executive producers too.
Okay, now I kind of want to watch it.
But I don't. Oh, it explores the birth of the internet.
Oh, never mind.
That's
Nope.
what it's.
I'm on. I I was thinking this was like...
National Geographic cranks up the internet Wayback Machine with the forthcoming series Valley of the Boom. So it's going to be Silicon Valley and the internet boom.
Yeah, I'm over
That's what it's going to be.
I'm over it. I'm with Sarah.
They had me for about 30 seconds.
They did, until it was about the internet.
Sorry, Lamorne. Get into something else. Maybe
he's one of the leads, though. I mean...
Well, he's talented.
He is talented.
Oh, it's about Netscape. Remember Netscape?
No.
Vaguely.
Oh my gosh, it's about Netscape and how it sought to challenge the desktop dominance of the world's leading software maker, Microsoft.
That sounds dull. Right?
I lived this. I don't need to relive
We're
it.
good.
Yeah, and so it's a docudrama because most of this show is going to be scripted, but the director and showrunner weaves in select documentary elements that help tell the true story of the internet's formative years.
You know, I'm okay with docudramas when it's like about rock stars. I don't need to know this. I'm done.
Yeah.
Netscape?
There's somebody out there that wants to watch that, but it is not us.
Maybe that's why it's on National Geographic.
I didn't even know.
Which doesn't even make sense that it's on a nature channel.
This is the journey I just went on. You said National Geographic. I'm like, oh, that sounds good. Docudrama. No, that doesn't sound good. Oh, it's about this. Oh, that. Nope.
But these people are in it.
Nope. I can't.
It's an internet show.
I got tired from the journey, and
That 5 minutes was so exhausting. I am over this show.
It could have been really special, but it just wasn't.
Why National Geographic? Was it because they're so desperate for content and nobody else picked up the show?
Maybe
it does not fit.
That's spicy. I don't even know what to say.
Winston, what are you doing?
You know what we should do?
It's a mess around.
We should watch it and live stream. The three of us trying to get
I wouldn't be
through it.
opposed to it.
We're doing it, you guys. But like every time,
That'd be a great holiday break thing.
it's their own game of True American. So like, and every time they say like,
can we have alcohol with it?
yes, every time they say like Netscape or something, we do a
Or
drink.
like the old
We'll be
internet
drunk.
Yeah.
in 5
the .com.
Yeah, Silicon Valley,
We're
all
gonna
the
be
things.
so wasted when we're done.
We won't even make it to being done. We'll pass out.
We'll just sleep at Kristen's house. That's fine.
All right. Woo.
I got one extra bedroom. That can work. And
And a couch?
I have 3 couches.
There you go. I mean, we can also do it at my house, but
Yeah.
whatever. Okay.
Whatever.
You don't want to set a bad example for your children.
Also true. You do have kids.
They have seen me before.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, I hope
Not
they,
exactly
I hope
a
they've
great,
seen you
a
before.
great example.
Oh, they've seen you like that?
No, actually, no.
I don't know where this went, but
It went somewhere.
It went somewhere.
so the $1 million question: would you recommend New Girl to others? Why or why not?
To the right person, yes. They
Who
have
is the right person?
someone who will understand this kind of humor. Like, I wouldn't recommend it to, like, my sister. My brother-in-law loves it, but my brother-in-law is also Schmidt.
Ah.
Pretty, I mean, he
Well,
looks
now
like
I want to
him.
meet him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. My brother-in-law and I have talked about it. He really likes it because of Schmidt. I don't know how he liked this last season, but it was very interesting that he really liked the show. My sister's kind of lukewarm on it. So, again, it has to be the right person with the right sense of humor. Like, I wouldn't recommend it to a random person on the street. Like, hey, you've got to watch New Girl. It's...
Yeah, I don't think I would recommend it. I can think of every category I go through, something quirky. I think of a different show instead, like Always Sunny or Scrubs or...
See, and I never got into Always Sunny.
Oh, it's so funny. That's another podcast.
I couldn't do it.
Season 3, it gets really good. Anyway, there's just
Kristen's
things...
not on the list, and you are.
Every box I think of that New Girl falls in, there's something ahead of it that I'd recommend first.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't hate it, but I just can't think of anybody that I would be recommending it to.
Quite honestly, I wouldn't just recommend it like, hey, you know what a funny show is? New Girl. I wouldn't do that. However, if somebody said, would I like New Girl? I'd say you'd probably like a lot of it. So sure, why not? It's a low commitment. They're, half-hour episodes. You can learn how to play True American and then tell the rest of us, because I'm still not sure I understand.
There are rules.
I know, but the rules are unofficial.
Yeah, they're fan-made-up rules, right?
But they're fan-made-up rules based on watching and dissecting the show.
People have way too much time on their
People
hands.
love True American and New Girl and Nick Miller that much.
I love Nick Miller that much.
Who doesn't love Nick Miller?
I love a different Nick.
I know.
Yeah.
With a similar sounding last name.
It's true.
But
Yep.
that's a different biography.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, anything else you want to say about New Girl? Any parting shots at this point? Because that is actually a section of each blog post that I do. Parting shots. Where I summarize. But now you get to say it. Parting shots.
No.
We've already kind of said it. It was great. It just should have ended sooner, and it's a product of its time.
Works for me. All right. Well, I guess that is it with New Girl, and nobody's feeling particularly sentimental. So if you're a big fan of New Girl, sorry. I guess we can't be exactly one of you, but that doesn't mean you can't encourage others to watch it. Or if you love New Girl, we love the actors and we love the attempt, but in the end, it was just kind of milquetoast, right? Right. So with that said, I'd like to thank Kristen and Sarah for remaining on the New Girl podcast panel. And because I thanked them and we did the whole thing, and who's that girl? CPU is produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Would you please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play. Give us stars, comments, reviews. Let us know how we're doing, what you like. Did you like New Girl? Or didn't you like New Girl? Or do you like something better? That old chestnut. If you have suggestions on shows we might consider, always feel free to contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, by email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via our social media. Of course, we add new and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. We have more new episodes coming down the pike. And if you miss old episodes or want to know in general what we cover, just find us. We're everywhere. You can find us on Google, easy peasy pie. Subscribe. Get to our channels at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Stay up on new events and episodes. Until the next time, New Girl is available to stream on Netflix through season 6. The final season is available to stream on Hulu. But our coverage of New Girl as a panel is now done, though I wouldn't be surprised if it cropped up in other discussions from time to time. If you have nominations for shows we should cover on our podcast, contact us via social media or our email. You can volunteer to be a panelist too. In the meantime, and until next time, until next episode, new episodes are published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned.
We love you, Ferguson. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.